Blessed to be with you, Kevin Miller, in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Joining us now, Josh Bernstein from Amazon TV, host of the Josh Bernstein Show, national spokesman for AMAC. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Great to be on the program with you.
So we take a look at just the state of things. Has the world gone crazy where the president is saying that we should have red flag laws? His son earlier today saying that might not be a great idea. Republicans don't know where they should go after these two, actually you could say three horrific shootings in the last 2 or 3 weeks, sir. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are that we don't have a mass shooting issue. We have a mass hysteria issue. According to the joint report from the Crime Prevention Research Center and the World Population Review, the United States actually ranks 10th out of the top 20 for mass shootings. But when you add in the population of the fact that we have 329 million people, we rank 66 in the entire world. So nowhere even close to being at the top. But you know what? I can solve this mass shooting problem very, very simple in 10 seconds. The first thing we do is we repeal all 22,000 gun laws that are on the books. The second thing we do is we permanently ban all gun-free zones. We take away the incentive of any of these mass shooters. And the third thing we do is we allow concealed carry in all 50 states, or if you're Barack Obama, all 57 states. If we do things like that, then we will have devalued the gun-free zone and the carrot, if you will, that is being put out there, because these folks are cowards and they don't want to meet an armed resistance. At least most of them don't. And there's a reason why out of the 7 movie theaters, the guy that did the shooting in Colorado at the movie theater, the Joker guy, there's a reason he went to the one that was in the gun-free zone. This guy at the bar the other day in Dayton, again, gun-free zone. El Paso's Walmart, gun-free zone. The problem is gun-free zones, and the solution, as crazy as this may sound to liberals out there and possibly even to some people that have the emotional patch on rather than the reality patch on, is the solution is more guns. That's right. More guns in society will make us safer.
Well, your reaction to all the libs, Josh, saying time to get rid of the guns and, let's ban all the guns, let's do the buybacks, and no more guns for you, me, or anybody else.
Yeah, well, look, first is registration, second is confiscation, and third is extermination. Don't take my word for it. Take the 6 million Jews that perished under Adolf Hitler. Take the 30 to 40 million Russian peasants that died under Stalin and Lenin. Take the 72 million Chinese peasants that died under Mao Zedong, Idi Amin, Pol Pot. The list goes on and on and on. The bottom line is the Second Amendment is the most important amendment. We don't have a First Amendment. We don't have any other amendments without the Second. And if they think they're coming for our guns, well, then they have another coming, because we're not going to relinquish our guns. And if Republicans get weak and start talking about universal background checks, red flag laws, and all these other things, then, he can kiss 2020 goodbye, because there's going to be millions of people that are going to be so upset about that it'll hurt him moving into 2020. Do I think that every single person that has a criminal record needs to have a gun? No, of course not. And I think mental health is really the issue here. I think we ought to open up the mental institutions again and start putting these people in there. But the bottom line is, the more people that are armed in society, the safer society will be, because they're not going to run into a school or a church or a mall and try to shoot up the place, not knowing how many people are going to be armed that will be able to stop them.
Josh, when you what was your reaction when the president said he was in favor of red flag laws yesterday?
It was a little frightening. I mean, look, he looked like he was caught up in the emotions of what's going on. It's sad that the media will never tell you the truth of what's going on. The El Paso shooter in his manifesto clearly said that President Trump is going to be blamed for these actions, and he said that his opinions predate President Trump and his candidacy. and that, it's not his fault. The other one, on the other hand, wanted to get gun control passed, even though he was, someone that liked guns and had a weird sensation with violence and everything else. He knew that getting guns and doing what he did was going to bring gun control back into the forum, if you will, of public discourse. And that's exactly what happened. So if the media was honest, they would tell the truth. But, obviously they're not doing that. The worst thing Republicans could do right now is to jump and try to ban an AR-15 or assault rifles or limit bullets or limit magazines. I mean, these are not smart things to do, number one. And number two, they're not going to make us any safer. Again, if we really, truly want to stop these mass shootings, which we could have done over 100 years ago, we would get rid of gun-free zones and we would eliminate gun laws.
Josh Bernstein joining us from Amazon TV, Kevin Miller in the morning. KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Josh, the president's going to Dayton today. He's going to El Paso. You have the libs saying, don't come here, Mr. President. You're not welcome because you're a racist.
Amazing. He's not a racist. There's nothing racist about this president. I mean, if he was racist, he wouldn't have blacks and Asians and Hispanics at the lowest levels of unemployment, more women working than ever. Then he would be sexist, right? If he was against women. Look, the bottom line is, and if you look at all of this, what this is about control. This is not about anything else other than wanting to disarm the electorate. Even Cory Booker, crazy Cory Bathroom Booker, has said that President Trump should stop all of his rallies because he said they're, quote, a breeding ground for racists and white supremacy. So in other words, now they want to take away your First Amendment right. The fact is that Cory Booker couldn't sell out a phone booth filled with free Obama phones, and the successful, peaceful rallies, I might add, all around the country that President Trump does, people don't leave those rallies and go, oh, great, now I want to go kill Americans. No, they feel good about themselves. They feel good about America, and they feel hopeful about the future of America. But yet now they want to stop those rallies. So in other words, they want to use guns and this shooting to try to silence our First Amendment freedom of speech, and including the president's, by saying that now we need to stop these rallies. It is so pathetic, it's comical.
Josh, if people want to get a hold of you, what can they do?
Sure. They can go to patreon.com/Josh Bernstein. I'm demonetized on YouTube. I'm censored on Facebook. I'm shadow banned on Twitter because I tell the truth. I'm an investigative reporter, and I'm a truth seeker and a truth teller. So help me out. You can donate to my program there as well. Again, it's patreon.com, patreon.com/Josh Bernstein, JoshBernstein.
Now, has Amazon come after you?
Yes, in some respects, as far as underwriting is concerned. They haven't let me put up new videos in a long time because Amazon is the opposite of YouTube. They are the anti-YouTube. They are a true TV network. And so every video you have to put up has to have closed caption, which is fine, and all these other things. And you got to remove all your background stuff, and it's got to be kind of stripped down so that they can promote their own stuff on there. But they make it so hard for underwriting because there's no human being. It's only automated. So it's really, really tough to get things done through them and to send content through them. But I do have the Amazon Josh Bernstein Show on Amazon and Amazon Prime and Roku TV, and there's about 10 videos up on that. But you can also go to YouTube, of course, and put in the Josh Bernstein Show, and you'll find hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos. We're
going to check you out, brother. We'd love to have you back.
Please
Thank you.
Sure. Anytime, any topic.
All right, Josh, take care.
Thank you.
There we have it. Josh Bernstein, big star, Amazon YouTube, right here on the old KIDO Talk Radio. Speaking of which, Joe Biden was in town. Channel 7 covered it. Let's take a listen.
He becomes the next president in 2020. It was a busy day in front of this house on Warm Springs Avenue in Boise on Tuesday.
I am here to hopefully support the next president of the United States, Joe Biden.
The frontrunner in the Democratic primary stopping in Boise for a fundraising event. It's estimated that around 300 people came to show their support for his campaign.
We need to restore sanity, and I think he's a very capable, experienced public servant who has demonstrated the wisdom and the stability that we need in the White House.
Translation, he's not a crazy, wacky, uber leftist lib.
Everyone there was eager to see the former VP as he showed up to the event with his wife.
Hey guys.
Supporters believe he is the Democratic Party's best chance of taking back the White House.
In other words, he's not crazy AOC or Tlaib or Omar or anybody else. Can Joe Biden win in Idaho? Are you down with Sleepy Joe? Let's talk about it next. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
I think people who are of a moderate, centrist disposition with progressive positions are going to stand a much better chance of beating Trump in the 2020 election.
Without a doubt, Joe Biden is the strongest candidate to take on Donald Trump.
They touted his experience and time with former President Barack Obama as reasons why.
I can't tell you how glad and grateful I am that someone who's running for president will come and acknowledge small states like mine and Idaho.
Thanks, everybody. Good luck.
Now, Biden's team announced a list of some new endorsements from.
There we have it. Channel 7's coverage of Joe Biden. Your thoughts on Smoking Joe. By the way, Smoking Joe has said he's calling for a ban on assault weapons and a federal gun buyback program in response to the recent mass shootings across the country. Biden told Anderson Cooper that assault weapons should be illegal, period, adding the Second Amendment doesn't say you can't restrict the kinds of weapons people can own. Pete in Mountain Home with Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Pete.
Kevin, I'm thrilled to see Joe Biden could get 350 people to come to a very, very rich person's house and give him money. That shows how his vast support here in Idaho.
Man of the people.
Man of the people. Okay, red flag laws. Let me just, two things. First of all, due process of law in America means you get a lawyer and you get to face your accuser and you get a court trial. That's due process. Fifth Amendment. Get out your Constitution, everybody. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime, and it goes on, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Red flag laws are depriving people of property with zero due process. They do not get to face an accuser. They do not get a lawyer. All they get is an order from somebody, some judge saying, we're going to take your property. And they have no idea that's coming, and there's zero due process in that. That is clearly unconstitutional, and I am sure there are already lawsuits out there challenging those red flag laws where they have passed in other states.
What do you make of that, though? Here you have the president saying, hey, let's take a look at this.
Well, you know, Donald Trump, hey, he's got armed guards all the time around him. So, you know, he's in that level of society where they don't have to worry about protecting themselves because they got someone else to do it. And the real issue is, okay, you look at this guy in both of these two people, El Paso and Dayton, and their families knew they were whack jobs. But you cannot get somebody that you know, if you want a red flag law, how about saying, okay, if your family knows that you have issues like that, call the police. The police can put a hold on you for, 2 days? Sure. And have that person, queried by a psychologist or whatever. But the issue is you've got crazy people doing this stuff, and like your prior caller said, doing it in gun-free zones. In fact, did you read the manifesto from the nutcase in El Paso?
Can't say that I did.
It's called The Inconvenient Truth, Al Gore, hello. And his basic premise is he's a whack job environmentalist. The reason he wants to get rid of Hispanics is there's too many people in America, and we're being taken over by unchecked. Hey, the guy's a Green New Dealer. He talks about watersheds being depleted, fresh water polluted from farming, consumer culture creating thousands of tons of unnecessary plastic waste. I'm reading from the guy's manifesto. So the next logical step is to decrease the number of people in America using resources. If we can get rid of enough people, then our way of life becomes more sustainable. He was killing people because he wanted to lower the population.
Pete,
I mean, it's like...
Pete, we appreciate the truth. Thank you.
Yeah, and the only place you can find that, you can't find it on Google. They won't take you there. Go to the Federalist. The Federalist will have a full copy of that manifesto, and you can read. And then the guy in Dayton, he was a left wing. He likes Antifa, but we don't want to hear about that on the media. We can't speculate as to the motives. Yeah. Anyway, Fifth Amendment, due process of law. Let's see that.
Pete, appreciate you being fired up this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Bye.
Bye-bye. KIDO Talk Radio time, 8:25, traffic and weather together. Good morning, Dave. Brian in Napa, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Hey, Kevin. Thank you for having Josh and Pete on. I'm going to give them a big amen.
All right.
Wow. I'm glad we have people like that. I'd love to meet these people. Creepy Joe. Let's just go over this. No assault weapons. This is the same Creepy Joe that went on TV and told people if there's a criminal in your area, you get your shotgun, which, by the way, was a weapon of war used in World War II against Germans, and they complained to the nations about the Americans' shotgun that was too effective on killing their soldiers. He went out and told the American public that if you're afraid, go point that shotgun up in the air and blast the shot in the air, and it'll scare the bad guys away. And there are Americans that literally took Joe's advice and did that and got put in jail for discharging a firearm in a public area. This is the guy we're going to listen to, Creepy Joe, the hugger of women and children that doesn't have boundaries. And then he's going to tell us that you shouldn't have an assault weapon. I don't think he knows what an assault weapon is, because apparently the Germans thought a shotgun was an assault weapon in World War II.
No, good point. Good point.
And another issue, these shooters. Have you ever heard at church that God loves the people he chastens, his children he chastens? Have you ever heard that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad said, you're a Clark. Your family has worked hard to have a good name and be good people. And he says, he told me this, and he told all my siblings this. He's like, if you do anything to dishonor that family name, you don't need to worry about the cops. You don't need to worry about the government. You need to worry about me. And you could call that a threat. You could call that a promise. I call that love, because I knew that if I did anything to dishonor my family name, I would have to answer to my father. And I wonder if Americans did that today, if that would solve any of these problems. I was a pretty good kid. I really didn't break any major laws. I'm not a felon. I didn't do anything wrong. Why? Because I knew I had a father at home that would chasten me if I did. And
yeah,
bring
but Brian,
me to
we've devalued fathers today. We make fun of them.
Yeah, and we've devalued men.
We do.
And we've devalued men that know how to use weapons to defend us. Why aren't we talking about that cop? If anybody watched the video of the shooter that came around the corner with an AR-15 with a flashlight on it, that was meek enough to understand how to use it and when to use it, and took that shooter down. Why aren't we talking about that guy? Why don't we know who that guy's name? Why isn't he on every news channel as the hero of the United States? Because of this stupid liberal left. I love men like that. I praise men like that, and I hope more of them stand up. And another,
we need them now more than ever.
And to back up Josh, what do we do with the worst men in this country? We put them in a building, we surround it by 2 high fences, and then you know what we put up in the towers and guard those men if they try to go over those fences with? semi-automatic rifles. And they all know that if they break and run through the yard and jump that fence, guess what's going to happen? Bang, bang. It's the proper use. I love America. Please wake up. I love Idaho. Thank you for the Christians in Idaho that teach everybody this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's all I got, Kevin.
God bless, Brian. Thank you. We appreciate it. He loves America. You love America. We love America. Kevin Miller, America, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie. Rolling out to the White House. John Decker joins us now. Fox News Radio. Good morning, John.
Hey there. How's it going today, Kevin?
Pretty good. Big day for the president. He's going on the road. Perhaps he'll get a friendly reception. Perhaps he won't.
Well, it's one of those situations where if the president is going to be meeting with the families of the victims of these mass shootings, they are in mourning. And, they're not politicians. And, I've seen so many of these situations play out in the past. Even those who may not have even voted for the president appreciate that the president of the United States is going to their community, meeting with them, and expressing his condolences personally. So that is what I think will likely happen today. The president will not cross paths with Beto O'Rourke, for instance, in El Paso, or any other individual who's been critical of the president over the course of the past few days.
The president has gotten into a Twitter feud with Mr. O'Rourke and others. Is anyone around the White House concerned how heated the rhetoric is, particularly with Mr. O'Rourke and his use of profanity on numerous programs and on Twitter?
Well, that's all obviously on former Congressman O'Rourke. I don't think the White House is necessarily responding to that. The president said he wants to remain above the political fray on this particular issue. He spoke to us, the reporters who cover the White House, just a little over an hour and a half ago before he departed for Dayton, Ohio. And that's exactly what the president said. He said that critics, for the most part, are politicians that are not doing well in the polls. I think that was in reference to former Congressman O'Rourke. And the president at the same time said that he's open to talking and discussing and ultimately perhaps supporting a background check bill in terms of purchasing firearms. That is what has already passed the House of Representatives. The White House, even before these mass shootings took place over the weekend, Kevin, was opposed to that particular legislation. But, there seems to be a move afoot among Republicans to pass one of two or maybe both bills that are supported by Republicans. One is a bill put forward by Pat Toomey from Pennsylvania, senator from Pennsylvania. That is a background check bill, closes the so-called gun show loophole. And another piece of legislation put forward by Republican Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, this so-called red flag bill, also gaining some support among Republicans.
John Decker joining us from Fox News Radio, live at the White House, folks, on KIDO Talk Radio. The president, I'm sure you have his schedule. Will he be meeting with victims? Will he have a town hall? What will he be doing in Dayton and El Paso specifically, John?
I do have his schedule, but quite frankly, it's very fluid, and there's not much on the schedule in terms of the people the president will ultimately be meeting with in each of these cities. So we'll have to, sort of follow it along with you in Boise, and see, what the president says and what the president does. I thought I was thinking he wouldn't actually speak to the press corps prior to his departure for fear of perhaps jumping on top of his message that he wanted to deliver to the people of Dayton and El Paso. But for the most part, Kevin, he was very disciplined and stayed on message during the 11 minutes of Q&A that he did with us prior to his departure.
John Decker, we always appreciate your work, your insight with Fox News Radio. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. Have a great day. Talk to you real soon.
And we look forward to that. John Decker, bye-bye. Remember, Joe Biden in town yesterday calling for an assault weapons ban and a mandatory gun buyback program, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. The former vice president telling Anderson Cooper, "Hi, I'm Anderson Cooper," that assault weapons should be illegal, period. Adding, quote, "The Second Amendment doesn't say you can't restrict the kinds of weapons people can own." Biden also called for universal background checks and said he would establish a federal gun buyback program aimed at reducing the number of firearms on the streets. So does that mean he'd go up to the criminals, the hoodlums, the gangbangers, and buy their guns back? Donald Trump Jr. earlier today on Fox and Friends had this to say concerning President Trump Sr.'s issue concerning red flag laws. Let's take a listen.
I'm not worried about it in this administration, but in a future, potentially more leftist administration, I could see them weaponizing this. And trust me, when you've been through what I've been through for the last 2.5 years, you have to be pretty cynical about big government, their ability to weaponize a narrative.
And coming up, one presidential candidate gleefully says that if they're elected, the first 100 days, Congress puts together a new, more complete, more thorough assault weapons ban, or she, by executive decree by national emergency, will take your guns. Boy, is there any good news this morning. That's where you come in. Your reaction to those stories and more, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. To the phones we go, and you guessed it, folks. It's time once again for Tea Party Bob, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, sir.
Such a good show this morning. Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for having Josh on this morning. You know, Josh is absolutely correct when it comes to gun-free zones and changing the firearms carry laws.
Now, by Senator.
Yep, go ahead, please. We're there. Hello?
Okay. I've been saying the exact same thing for years about the problem. It's not the guns, but the opportunity we afford these mentally ill people to commit these horrible acts. We're the ones who are responsible for these mass shootings because we opened the door for these shooters to access the innocent with our crazy rules and regulations and gun-free zones that we have imposed in hopes of keeping these people safe. Now, I said the other day in an article that the only way to deter or stop a bad guy is to have a good guy out there with a gun to challenge him. It's the only way we're going to actually eliminate these continual shootings. And you also need to eliminate the access to the defenseless. You know, everyone is sick about the shootings, but their only answer is to ban weapons, which is, the only defense the innocent have against a rogue shooter.
Well, you're a Trump guy, and
right?
You've been a Trump guy. You and Liberty Linda, the most loyal Trump people in the state. When the president yesterday says, "Look, time for the red flag laws, time for this, time for that," and then you have the Republicans going, "Hey, that sounds like a good idea to me." How do you react? How do you respond to that?
Everybody is jumping up and down, trying to come up with some kind of solution. But I'm going to tell you right now, red flag laws are not effective, and we know that. They will be abused, which is the reason we need to keep them off the books. If we're going to have any red flag laws, let's have some red flag laws against stupid politicians to keep them from using their elected office to take our guns away. You know, Biden's a blithering idiot who probably doesn't even know how to use his own shotgun. He has round-the-clock security. He doesn't have to worry. But I will tell you, if this man gets elected, we are going to have a problem, and we're going to be in a fight for our lives for Second Amendment rights.
Well, look. If any of these Democrats get elected, it's Katie bar the door. Tea Party Bob, GemStatePatriot.com. Thank you. Pro-Life joins us now to talk about his favorite presidential candidate, Joe Biden. Good morning.
Oh, yeah, he's my favorite, all right. Well, I'll tell you this, that he's a typical politician because he's running, he'll talk way to the left now about taking guns away from people and all kinds of stuff. And when it gets to the general election, you won't even hardly be able to tell any difference between him and Trump. And I'm predicting that right now. He will just, and Trump will have to go back and quote all of the leftist, communist, socialist stuff that he's saying right now, because he's not going to say it in the general election, and I think he's probably going to be the Democrat candidate. But that's just
now.
How
did you attend the fundraiser for him yesterday?
Yeah, right. Now they wouldn't let me in there. Probably I'm the kind of person that they'd use the red flag laws against just because I'm my political views, my moral views. They'd say, if you're Mr. Pro-Life, if you're Mr. Think gays should be made illegal, those kind of things. Well, that's
you know what they're doing in Russia with the gays now. They have these people called the gay hunters. I don't know if that's going to be a documentary or not. For people that are just tuning in, many new people listening, especially on 107.5 FM that are, used to listening to music. Maybe they're scanning and they hear this talk show going back and forth. Your Pro-Life is your legal name, right?
Yeah, it is. Now, I have the initials FNU on my driver's license for my first name. That means first name unknown. But anyway, no, I'm as far right as you can get, and I only vote for Trump because he attacks the media. And you take the prostitutes that are the Republicans and the Democrats, those people will say whatever it takes to get elected. And just think, if our senators, congressmen, our governor, all of these kind of people, our state legislatures, if they were born and raised in Massachusetts, I'm telling you they would be Democrats, and they would be liberal Democrats, because that's the nature of politicians. They are prostitutes. They're chameleons.
Well, calling them prostitutes, you're not going to win many friends that way. Pro-Life, thank you for the call. Tom in Nampa, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Kevin. Question, red flag laws. Who determines what is, quote, dangerous? They're a threat to themselves and others. Okay, everybody living on the street is a threat to themselves because living on the street isn't safe. Are we going to round them all up and put them in treatment centers?
Well, we used to do that before President Reagan cut everybody.
Yeah, that was the liberals. The liberal idea was we have to, these people must be free. Okay. Yeah, they're really improved by living on the street now. Second question. Most states have, if you're accused of domestic battery, not convicted, accused, your firearms are, quote, temporarily sequestered from you. How many divorce cases have accusations of domestic battery involved in them? Last numbers I saw was 40%, of which not too many was actually proven. It's a divorce. People are nasty to each other. Now, if we want to talk about people being a threat to themselves and others, unless they pass, I assume they can pass or not pass the red flag law, may I suggest we red flag everybody inside the Beltway of D.C.?
Well, we could red flag everybody in Chicago as well. Tom, great point. More of your calls next. 580-5436, 580-KID. Remember, Donald Trump Jr., you heard him earlier on Fox and Friends, really saying that he would disagree with his dad, although he believes his dad's red flag laws, the president's red flag law proposal, is much better than the crazy, wacky, zany libs.
I'm not worried about it in this administration, but in a future, potentially more leftist administration, I could see them weaponizing this. And trust me, when you've been through what I've been through for the last 2.5 years, you have to be pretty cynical about big government, their ability to weaponize a narrative.
There you have it. Join the conversation now. We'd love to hear from you before Glenn Beck. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. You're listening to Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And at Kevin Miller in the morning, let's go to the phones on KIDO Talk Radio. Remember, you can always reach us 580-5436, 580-KIDO. We're joined now by our friend, Ron Grant, the original Safer Money specialist. Ron, boy, a rocky day for the stock market yesterday, down 500 points. Did you lose money?
No, we did not lose any money. And, it started out dropping down again this morning. And here's the thing. If we go back to 2008, when the market tanked almost 50%, my clients and I, we got a zero. We slept at night. We didn't lose any principal. We didn't lose any gains. And that's what I've done for myself, my money, and that's what I do for my clients. We get to participate in some of that upside of Wall Street, but right now when it's dropping, we don't participate in the downside. And that's the great thing about keeping your money safe.
How do people keep their money safe, Ron?
Yeah, we put it in insurance products where we keep the principal and the gain safe where they can't lose and get a reasonable range of return. They can also get a guaranteed lifetime income if they'd like. And when they pass away, their beneficiaries will get the balance.
Now, what do you say to people, Ron, that's too good to be true? What happened to you, Ron, in 2008 and your people? Did you lose money?
Nope, we slept. We didn't lose a penny. In fact, I got cookie baskets and thank you cards from all the clients that I protected their assets that didn't lose any money. And that's the nice thing about it, that we can't lose our principal or our gains. And, 1% of our nation, Kevin, gets income from multiple sources. Why wouldn't you?
Well, if people have any questions for you, now we're going to talk to you more this Saturday at 2, but if people have any questions, what can they do?
Well, they can give me a call. It's 208-660-1372. And this Saturday, we're going to be talking about the biggest risk to your retirement. So you're going to want to tune in. You want to get a pencil and a piece of paper. Knowledge is power. No one has ever gotten mad at me, Kevin, for educating them.
Well, and again, that education seems to be worthwhile. Your website, what's it hurt to listen, right? It's not like you're going to go smack somebody over the head. You just want to talk.
Right. Well, education's important, and then if it makes sense, we go forward. But they can always go to my website. I've got some great third-party educational information on there, some videos at safermoneyspecialist.com.
And Saturdays at 2. Ron Grant, we appreciate you, and we'll be talking cars soon as well.
All right. You guys have a great day.
Thank you,
Stay
Ron.
Cool.
You too, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye.
KIDO Talk Radio, traffic and weather together. Let's get you to work safely and on time. Good morning, Dave. All right. What is fast becoming the end of the show chat. The show really never ends on KIDO Talk Radio or the KIDO Talk Radio app. We're joined once again by Jeff the Suit. Mrs. Miller, I guess you'd say the arbiter of this program, the quality control person, actually said, Jeff sounds intelligent when he talks with you. And I said, well,
I faked it.
We raised the standard over here as opposed to where we usually catch you on the hip-hop bibbity station.
I didn't know we had a hip-hop station, but no, I think also it depends who you're set against, and you evidently elevate my intelligence, so thank you. I don't know what that says about you, but good times.
Well, let's, you would you say you're a lib, correct?
No, I wouldn't say that. I never say that. You say that.
You say you're a libertarian.
That's what I do say, yes.
I say you're another kind of lib.
You just take the first three, and it's an easy little tag for you, but I know the spelling isn't your thing.
So in the quest of expanding our audience.
Yeah. Oh, is that
from a different perspective, folks?
Yes.
We don't have to talk about the libertarians or the other lib, if you will. We have one with us. A case study, if you will.
Oh, weird.
So your take on Joe Biden being here in town, only for the rich hoity-toity. Now, again, Rubio and others have come to town and done the same thing.
Here's the thing. You're going to put me in a corner here with no time to really expand on this. So
that's the way we like it.
I know. It's very well crafted, Kevin. First-time listener. I think the thing that I've seen is both parties leave me disenfranchised. I don't find a truth and an ultimate fit in either party of the primary two. And so to me, a lot of the behavior is the same no matter who it is. A lot of the systems are just as equally flawed. And yet I understand that they're the ones that get things done. I think it's very hard to have a consistent message of being of the people when you do high-end fundraising only and don't at least pull an event with somebody. So to me, the same way that I end up disenfranchised when anyone tries to maintain that line, I wish they'd just be honest and say, look, this is the machine. It's what we got to do. We got to get the high-end donors, and we'll try and hang with the commoners when we can.
Ray Amaya brought up a great point about Democrats in Idaho. It just seems like it's a secret society.
Kind of. Yeah, I think it does. And again, I don't have a ton of friends who are the loud and proud Democrats either, but it is funny. It's almost like hush-hush and, oh, you're on that team. Okay, cool. We can talk a little more, but let's do it over here.
Right.
It is kind of funny.
Well, that's what your people seek to do to us.
No, my people sit outside and go, watch these two sides just fight the same fight in different ways. What a bunch of clowns. But it's with respect. So
you called us a clowns, and you say that's respectful?
Well, I've heard pro-life say some other things a few minutes ago that would be harder. So
we celebrate the freedom of expression for conservatives.
As do I, actually, for all people. So it's crazy. Everyone can have the freedom of expression, and then usually their ideas vet their stupidity.
And that's why we love America.
Yes.